Yo, have you noticed how every dude on your feed suddenly turned into a life coach? Like one week he's flexing protein shakes and the next he's charging $200 to teach you discipline. What's going on, man? Here's the wild part. Some of these guys are actually changing lives, real results, real transformations. But a lot of them, straight up hype merchants in tight t-shirts. And listen, it's not all bad. A lot of men today are lost. No role models, no structure, just confusion. So of course we're out here looking for direction. The question is, are these life coaches the answer, or just another expensive distraction? Stick around, because in this video I'm breaking it all down. The rise, the real ones, the red flags, and how to know if this path is even meant for you. Let's get into it. 1. Where did this trend begin? All right, let's rewind the tape for a second. Before life coaches were blowing up on TikTok and selling mindset courses on Instagram, this whole movement had way humbler beginnings. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, life coaching wasn't even a career most people had heard of. It was this kind of low-key side hustle type thing, usually tied into personal development seminars, Tony Robbins-style events, or soft therapy alternatives. It wasn't mainstream, it wasn't cool, and it definitely wasn't something dudes were talking about at the gym. But fast forward to today, and boom, we've got a whole new generation of male life coaches front and center on your social feed. They're everywhere, shouting into cameras, selling clarity calls, teaching you to journal your purpose at 5 a.m. So what changed? Simple. Culture shifted, and so did masculinity. You see, for decades, men weren't really encouraged to talk about their problems, let alone pay someone to help them navigate life. Therapy was seen as something for people who were broken. Coaching? It offered something different. It didn't feel like you were broken. It felt like you were upgrading. Then, social media exploded. The grind culture kicked in. And suddenly, being hyper-disciplined, emotionally controlled, and relentlessly productive wasn't just admirable, it became the standard for what real men should be. Coaching moved from the sidelines to the spotlight. But here's what really lit the fire under this movement: confusion. We've got a generation of men growing up with less structure, less guidance, and less certainty about who they're supposed to be. Traditional masculinity, criticized. Modern masculinity, still figuring it out. And in the middle of that storm, life coaches started rising up as the new guides, the new mentors, the modern digital warriors for the lost and ambitious. In fact, the International Coaching Federation reported a 25% increase in male coaches globally between 2016 and 2023. That's not a trend, that's a wave, and it's still rising. So let me ask you this. When traditional mentorship disappeared, did we all subconsciously turn to YouTube and Instagram looking for answers? For a new kind of father figure? Because that's what a lot of these guys became, at least on the surface. But what happens when influence becomes a product? When guidance gets monetized? When purpose becomes a personal brand? That's where this gets interesting. And that's what we're breaking down next. 2. Who are these guys? So let's talk about the actual faces of this movement. Who are these guys that went from being regular dudes to full-time life coaches with six-figure incomes and cult followings? They usually fall into a few categories. You've got the hustle kings, the ones preaching 18-hour work days and never sleep until you're rich vibes. Then you've got the modern monks, calm, centered, quoting stoicism and telling you to meditate, journal, and detach from toxic energy. Next, there's the alpha gurus. High testosterone, no nonsense, probably shirtless, and definitely talking about dominance, discipline, and being a real man. And finally, the therapist light coaches, who go deep into emotional healing, purpose, shadow work, and inner child stuff without actually being licensed therapists. You recognize them because they all use the same script. No excuses. You need to level up. Society lied to you. Be the man your father wasn't. But here's the question. Are they mentors or marketers? Coaches or characters? Some of them are genuine. They've been through the fire. They've turned pain into wisdom. Others, they're just good at selling confidence in a clean edit. 3. What do they actually teach? Now let's get into the real substance. What do these coaches actually teach you? It's mostly about structure and self-control. Because let's be honest, most people are drowning in chaos. You'll hear about daily routines, cold showers, digital detoxes, high-protein diets, gym accountability, morning journaling, dopamine resets, mental toughness. You know the drill. Wake up at 5 a.m., write your goals, lift heavy things, read a book, and stay locked in. But does any of it actually work? Or is it just aesthetic self-improvement? A 2020 study from the University of Sussex found that individuals who followed structured morning routines experienced improved focus and lower anxiety. So yeah, some of this stuff is backed by science. It's not that their advice is wrong. In fact, most of it is ancient wisdom in modern packaging. The problem is, when it becomes a formula for masculinity instead of a tool for personal growth, it can lose its power. So it begs the question, are we becoming better men or just better at pretending online that we have it all figured out? 4. Does it actually help? Now let's not be too cynical, because for a lot of guys, this coaching stuff actually works. Take someone like Rob, mid-30s, used to procrastinate, drink too much, couldn't focus. Then he found a coach who made him commit to 5 daily habits: cold shower, 1-hour workout, daily journaling, 0 alcohol, and a weekly progress call. 18 months later, new job, better health, stronger relationships. In an ICF Global Coaching client study, 80% of people reported improved self-confidence, and 70% said they saw a noticeable improvement in work performance. So no, it's not all smoke and mirrors. Sometimes having someone in your corner, pushing you, holding you accountable, is exactly what you need. The issue isn't whether coaching can help. The real issue is, what kind of help are you actually buying? 5. The red flags. Because let's be real, not all coaches are created equal. Some are real mentors with wisdom, but others, they're just really good at selling you the idea that you're broken, and only they can fix you. Red flag number 1, no credentials. Red flag number 2, they promise instant results. Red flag number 3, they guilt trip you into buying. Red flag number 4, they charge thousands but can't explain their process. Red flag number 5, they call any criticism hate and block dissent. If you feel more pressure than progress, more confusion than clarity, it's probably not coaching, it's manipulation. And let's be honest, if someone's whole pitch is become a man like me, but they've never failed, never owned their mistakes, and never walked through fire, they're not a coach, they're an actor. 6. How to choose the right coach. So how do you spot a real one? Start here. Do they offer real value before they ask for your money? Do they walk the talk in their own life? Do their past clients speak with specifics, not just emojis and fire comments? Are they teaching you or just feeding their ego? Here's a test. If you remove their camera, their Rolex, and their followers, would they still have something valuable to say? If yes, you might have a real one. 7. Should you even get a life coach? Look, not every man needs a life coach. Some guys need therapy. Others just need clarity. Some just need to stop scrolling and start doing. A coach isn't going to save you. They're a mirror, not a messiah. If you're looking for a shortcut, you're not ready. If you're looking for someone to guide your grind, push your potential, and keep you accountable, maybe you are. The question isn't, do I need a coach? The question is, are you ready to take yourself seriously enough to be coached? So what do you think? Have you ever followed a life coach? Did it help? Or was it just another rabbit hole? Drop your story in the comments, I want to know. And if this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button, subscribe for more brutally honest takes, and check out the next one on The Truth About Hustle Culture. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.